to all our listeners out there, Happy New Year. Whatever 2023 may have been like, I want to assure you that 2024 will be better.
Amen.
We're here to talk about how we can work on that together. I must say that it reminded me of the man that I know, of the man that I understand, and of the man that I feel his passion for this country and his capacity and understanding of the economic realities that face our nation. And that was why I was one of the earliest people to come out openly to stand up before Nigerians and say that Asiwaju will make a great president and he has the capacity to solve the economic challenges of this country. So far, I have not been disappointed. I know that some of the initial steps that have been taken have caused great pain and anxiety in the population. That was to be expected. But I do believe that if we leverage effectively on the opportunities that are offered by those actions that the president has taken, the opportunities are boundless. However, let me warn and advise that no matter how good our policies are, if we don't have honest civil servants, if we don't have honest leaders that are implementing the policy, not just in the words, but in the spirit in which they are intended, we will not get the results that we expect. So I commend the president for the steps that he has taken, for the moves that he is making, for his conviction and commitment to Nigeria. But I think that it is important that he watches that people don't just talk the talk, they actually walk the walk so that we get to where he and all of us, the majority of Nigerians, would like to see Nigeria moving in the future. Even in effective control of the National Assembly, he has control of his executive, he's taking full control of the reins of government. So I think what he's doing is to try to bring down the spirit of those who are still one way or the other offended or hurt by the outcome of the election, so that we can all put our heads together and move the country forward. And I've always said that I think that a lot of his opponents in that election also have quite a lot they can contribute to the country. And if we put Nigeria above every other consideration, it's difficult to be a patriot in a country where patriotism is not one of the things that we actually push. But it is important that our leaders should be patriotic. And I think that what the president did was patriotic. And if his opponents will also put the interests of Nigeria first, they will understand that they too can work with him. After all, what was the election about? It was about how we can all make Nigeria better. And everybody cannot do it at the same time. It has to be one person at a time. And for now, it's President Bola Tinubu. So I join him to appeal to everybody who has an axe to grind. Let's drop the axe first. Or if we will carry the axe, let us use it and attack the challenges that this country is facing at this time, security, the economy. Let's work together to see if Nigeria can be better for all of us. We'll benefit from that.
All right, so before with the words that he spoke today.
Nigerians are very hopeful people. Nigerians are also very resilient people. And I think that while we should not take the resilience and the hope of Nigerians for granted, I think it is something that we should accept as one of the major assets of this country that will enable us to recover from wherever we find ourselves. So that part of us is an important part of who we are, and it will help us. So I think that the president has appealed to that quality that is already inherent in the country. And I think a lot of Nigerians would give it a shot.
Where did it come in? And what's your initial take on this?
First of all, let me say this very clearly, Shemi. The reason I picked Patricia Olunaya as my running mate is exactly those reasons. We wanted a woman who is strong, who is independent-minded, who can run the state if anything happens to the government, who can take decisions. She has always been a member of the PDP. Maybe you don't know that. She's always been a very strong member of the PDP. I have always been a member of the APC. That's where we were. And the country understands, everybody understood that I left the APC at that time to go and run on the platform of the SDP because I was not given that opportunity within the APC here in Rivers State. But I still continue to maintain my association with the APC. So her going back to the PDP is, to me, it's nothing of, it's not a surprise or strange in any way. That has always been her party. She wasn't an original member of the SDP. She wasn't with us in the APC. We brought her in from PDP, which is her party really. And we all understood that the purpose of us going to the SDP was to afford us a platform to participate in the politics of Rivers State. Everybody in Nigeria understood that. I even said that on national television. And I was clear in my negotiation with the SDP at the time I joined at the national that I will continue to support Bola Tinubu and I will continue to support the APC national. They understood that. So there's nothing strange in what is going on.
And there is no animosity.
I spoke to her a few days ago. She's a friend. I don't believe in politics of bitterness. I also don't believe that because somebody followed you in one thing, the person must follow you forever. That's not how politics works. She has her own local dynamics in her area, and she's free. She's a Rivers woman. She's free to look at the politics of the state and take whatever position she thinks is best for herself and her people. So I'm not fighting with anybody over that. We had our own group, and our group is still intact. You understand what I mean? And our group, we were from the APC, and most of them will gravitate back that way. So if she doesn't want to follow us to APC and she wants to go back to PDP, that's clearly her choice.
You know, I think this thing,
Port Harcourt, people join by declaring anywhere. So it's just a choice of the individual. The constitution is very clear.
Isn't that supposed to be a...
You have to agree that you now want to join. Then you follow the procedure. But having made the announcement, the party cannot turn you back. It's the same noise in the APC side. Some of the people that have come to join the APC, they didn't follow procedure. So it's the same thing everywhere. But that's who politicians are in this country. The important thing is that she has said where she's going, and that's where she's going.
Right.
Distinguished Senator Magnus Abe, I'm hearing what you are not saying, and I hope you will say what I am hearing, because you've said it twice, that you were in the APC.
Seriously. Let me tell you, I was part of the founding members of the All Progressives Congress. I was one of the senators on the floor of the Senate. We're 12 of us, out of 30-something of us that were meeting. The day it came to bite the bullet, only 12 of us could bite that bullet. I was one of that 12. I was one of those who walked out from the Eagle Square in the face of the sitting president to go to Yaradua Center. It was just about 3 or 4 of us, or 5 of us from Rivers State that were part of that move. That we went to, with myself and Senator Ake. We're practically the only senators from the South who joined in the walkout to form the APC. So I'm a stakeholder in the APC. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Nobody can deny me that right. So even at the national level, I've continued to maintain my relationship with the party, and I will continue to do that. I have never disparaged any party. I understand that political parties are institutions. They don't belong to anybody, you know. So based on the exigencies of politics, you can not find a home somewhere and then decide to seek accommodation anywhere. It's your constitutional right. So I don't have any apologies to offer to anybody. I've always been part of the APC, and as events continue to unfold, that will be made clearer.
And again, I find it that you're willing to go to APC and work with Chief Tony Okocha.
I don't understand what you mean by willing to go to APC and work with Chief Tony. You already said that Tony Okocha is my very good friend, so why are you asking a question that you can answer? To me, let me tell you, Shegun, part of what I want to say here today is that all the toxicity that has characterized Rivers politics over the years doesn't help anybody. And I just don't want to be in that place anymore. I don't have anything against anybody. I've had disagreements with people. I've had agreements with people.
Including Tony Okocha.
Yes, of course, I've had disagreements with Tony.
Because I realize
and we can still have disagreements.
Disagreements over who supported Bola Tinubu and who did not
support. I don't even want to go into all that. Okay. Anybody, like Tinubu himself said this morning, we have passed the stage of politics. We are now in the stage of governance. And let me say this. Everybody in Rivers State knows that if you want to talk of those who started singing Bola's song in this state, I was the first. We coordinated it. We started it. And Tony was part of us. But today, other people can sing the song. But what I think matters to the president is not those who sing when you're president. It's those who sang before you became president, and those who will sing when you're no longer president. And it is important that you keep your eyes on that ball to open the space for as many Nigerians as possible to understand what you're about and serve them. So that tomorrow when you're not there, you have people still singing for you. Because when you're there, anybody, this whole debate about who supported you is totally irrelevant today. Because a lot of people who said Bola will never be president, they are with him in the presidency. A lot of people who were dying for him to be president even before then, they are not there. So that's how politics is in this country. And it plays out all the same way everywhere. If you come to the States, some people who were not with him will be with him today. Some people who were with him yesterday will not be. That's politics. It's dynamic. It changes. So you can't lock yourself into any place and begin to fight everybody or anybody. No. I am not going to the APC because of Tony Okocha or because of Meka Beke. The APC is a constitutional body. Do you understand what I mean? And I understand my rights within the constitution. So whatever internal dynamics will play out within the party, that one will play out by itself. It doesn't stop me having my affiliation with the party. So all those internal dynamics are a problem within the APC. When you get in there, you play that one, you know, but that is not the reason why I'm going to the APC. I've always been part of the APC. I was part of the formation, and I remained part of the dreams of the All Progressive Congress to make this country better. And I'm part of those who supported the president. So I'm not going to run away from that because of the politics of Rivers State. That's not correct.
Fantastic. It
will be taken in context. Everybody in Nigeria knows that the appropriation bill that the former President Buhari submitted to the National Assembly did not contain any provision for subsidy beyond that policy.
Beyond June.
Yes. So that automatically had removed the subsidy because it wasn't going to be payable and couldn't be paid beyond June. So that had removed the subsidy. I think that's what Keyamo was talking about when he said that the president inherited the removal of subsidy. Right. That's one. The president, when he said he removed subsidy, everybody knows that it was his own executive action that precipitated the total collapse of the subsidy regime. So I don't see that as a major issue. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter how it was removed. But the reality is that under Tinubu, there is no subsidy. And so the price of petroleum products have been allowed to, free fall as the case may be. That's what the president is referring to. So I think that spending time fighting over that issue is not helpful. What is the reality is, like he said, how do we get the best out of our present economic situation? And when I was speaking, I was very clear that a lot of people are going to be skeptical. And I also said that as much as possible, all these good policies, if we don't have honest and competent people working on them, we may not get the results that we all desire. But is there a road out of our present situation? Yes. The roadmap the president has set, if we are able to follow it constructively and honestly, can it help us? The answer is yes. So to those questions, I cannot sit here and say the answer is no, when I know that the answer is yes. So we can get out of our difficulties, my brother. I understand how you feel. I know how a lot of people feel. I grew up in this country, and I know what Nigeria was like when I was growing up. And part of what brought me out this morning, which I keep saying to everybody, is that I always look at my own life. I have told this story time and time again. I am the son of an Anglican pastor. My father was earning 96 naira a month as a clergyman in Yege. He had 6 children. If the leaders at that time, if the DSPs of our time, the Wanodis, the Obiwales, the Sarumiwas, were treating government and public resources the way we are treating it now, what would I have been? I am here today because the government of my time, the leaders of my time, cared about more than their own children. They made a provision for every child. They did not just build mansions for themselves. They built their mansions in me without knowing me. And that's why I honor their name everywhere. So we must look at what our own leadership is delivering to the Nigerian people. What is the fate of another Reverend Abe today with 6 children living below minimum wage? What are the prospects of those children? What are what are the possibilities that another Magnus Abe can arise out of those circumstances today? The answer is nil, because public education has practically collapsed, public facilities have collapsed all across the place, and those are the things that should concern us. But 90% of our resources, 90% of our time, 90% of our relationships are invested in politics which concern only the elite and is meaningless to the rest of the people. Those are the things that we should come out honestly and address. So I understand where these people are coming from. I understand the challenges that we face. But I am not one of those Nigerians that will give up hope and say, oh, there is nothing we can do. This and that. I don't believe in that. No matter the situation you find yourself, you have an obligation to your God to make the best of your life and to continue to push for a better world. And that is what I will do till my last breath.
That's a fantastic take there.
First of all, Shegun, let me tell you, as you get older, sometimes when you want to answer questions, you answer the questions with stories that come out of your experience. I'll tell you something, and I'll end with something. When I was a commissioner here in Rivers State, I had a friend named Ajumogobia, who was the Attorney General of the state at the time. Brilliant guy. And all the politicians, every time we meet, they'll say, oh, Ajumogobia is not a politician. Oh, Ajumogobia is not a politician. He became the Attorney General of the state. When it was time to nominate a minister from Rivers State, Ajumogobia became the minister from Rivers State. And all the politicians who wanted to be minister, they didn't become. It was Ajumogobia, who was not a politician, that became the lead politician because he was the only minister from Rivers State at the time. Now, what does that tell you? There is really no school of politics. Everybody, all the big politicians in this state wanted to be governor. They didn't become the governor. Similarly, Fubara became the governor of Rivers State. And yet people sit down and say he's not a politician, he's not a politician. But the thing that all the politicians were looking for, he's the one who got it. So what other qualification do you want as a politician? I think the governor is very smart. I think also, and I tell you that when you get older, when you want to say something, you answer your questions with stories. I always tell people, when you want to go to war, don't allow your opponent to choose the weapons of war. Allow him to choose the time of the war. Allow him to choose the nature of the war. Allow him to choose the place of the war. Then you go and fight. If you do that, you have already lost. The governor was going into a war in which somebody had already chosen the weapons of the war, the assembly. He's holding 27. He has chosen the time of the war. You're just a new governor. You don't yet control the institutions. You don't even know your party. And he says the fight must begin now. If you go into that war, what are your chances of survival? So I think the governor was very smart, and he's quite an astute politician. That's my own understanding. And I've said this long before now. People who are close to me will remember that in the beginning, I said that for Sim to emerge as a governor, he may not be the way people think that he doesn't know anything. That may not be correct. He's very, very smart. So I think that practically he took the available option that was open to him. And let me also say this, Shegun, it's not easy to stand before the president and challenge the president. What people are trying to do is that when the president asked me to withdraw my case, I just said, yes, sir. I went immediately, withdrew my case and went home. So that's how you relate when you need help from somebody. You don't want that help from somebody and then you're arguing, over everything. That's not the way to go about it. At that point, I think that what the president did was simply to ask the parties to return to status quo ante bellum. That's what we will say as lawyers. You had assembly, hold what you have. You had governor, hold what you have. You have commissioner, hold what you have. That's what the president tried to do. That's my understanding of it. And he understood that the governor, by virtue of his executive powers, was in a position to scatter more. And the other people, by virtue of their own positioning within the system and their hold on the institutions, are also in a position to have caused great disturbance in the state. And so he took the option to restore peace. And the governor, in my opinion, was smart to embrace that option and keep his relationship with the center, which he needs. So I don't think that that position is in any way wrong as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
The position of the elders
Right.
is also their own right. They are rivers people, they are stakeholders, and they also have a right to interpret the events in the way that they feel affects the state and take what steps that they think as stakeholders to protect their understanding of what the stakes are. That's not the governor's job. That's their own job. Because they say where they are elders, a pregnant goat does not give birth when it is tied. It is the responsibility of the elders to go and untie the goat and tell the younger ones that this goat needs to be free to give birth. So
Distinguished, if I may just...
that's how I see this whole thing.
if I may just explain.
Chegu, you are free to say what you want to say.
That's not what I'm saying. That's
I'm
what you are saying.
I'm also free to say what I want to say.
All right. So
What I want to say here is this. I think that those who agreed to serve the government of Rivers State should have served the government of Rivers State. It doesn't matter who appointed you. It doesn't matter how you got there. But when you get there, you take an oath with our constitution on the Bible that you will serve the state. It is wrong for a state official to resign over a disagreement with an individual. That's, to me, that disqualifies you from public service. That's my own understanding. Now, we expect judges to be impartial, but somebody appointed the judge. So if you are swearing on the same oath that the judge swore on, and then when it comes to time to take a decision about the state, you are not impartial. But tomorrow you expect a judge who swore the same oath, with it written in the same constitution to which you swore, to stand in front of who appointed him and say, no, you're wrong, this is right and this is wrong. That's what we expect. That's why I keep telling people that the challenge of Nigeria is a challenge of Nigerians. You can't set standards for other people that you yourself will not uphold. How will the country get better if because of I mean, to me, and I have said this at this stage, Shegun, one thing I know is that I can say what I want to say. Nobody can make me say what I don't want to say. And I don't have to be toxic in expressing my views. I think that whatever the disagreement may have been between the governor and the minister, those who had taken an oath to serve River State should have and should serve our state. That's what I believe.
So,
You know?
as it
So
is,
whatever issue anybody has, the Constitution and the offices provided for in the Constitution would have been enough to contain it if the people who took those oaths had stood by their oath. So you can't be overbearing when somebody is in office and he's doing what is expected of that office. Your overbearing will mean nothing. I'll give you an example. In the US, there's a senator who appointed a federal prosecutor. And he went to Biden and got the appointment, appointed his boy as federal prosecutor. And the reason he wanted that boy as federal prosecutor for that district was because he had a corrupt relationship with a businessman who was under investigation. And he wanted to stop that investigation. But that boy he appointed is the one who is now prosecuting the senator. That's how real societies work. Somebody must appoint somebody. Amechi appointed me as secretary to government. I served Rivers State to the best of my ability. It doesn't mean that if tomorrow he is doing something that I don't like or I think is against the interest of the state or I don't agree with, I must follow him because he appointed. I will not. And that's how people should live. That's how countries progress. So that no one individual at any point in time can become bigger than the collective. But where people now swear to the Constitution but serve an individual, you destroy the collective. That's where I think the problem is.
okay.
So as much as possible, like I've said before, and I will repeat here, there can only be one governor at a time. If those who are called to help the governor to serve the state genuinely serve the state, we will make progress. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or does. It's not the governor. But where people, rather than serve the state, will choose to serve an individual above the state, we can't make any progress in that kind of atmosphere.
Okay.
To reach an agreement, there's nothing like the right thing or the wrong thing. It's an agreement which you have subscribed to. So if the governor decides to do that, that's his prerogative as he agreed. This is totally within his prerogative to appoint whoever he wants to appoint. But those individuals who resigned, they themselves, are they ready to go back to eat their vomit? Because you had said that you're resigning for personal reasons. You leave the service of the state. Now there's an agreement that says you can go back. Do you now go back and say, no, those personal reasons don't exist again, I'm ready? I think that, for a man at a point, you must have ideals that are beyond the present. Everything can be about today. And that's what I keep telling people. You're a success, not because you succeed all the time. No matter how successful you are, you can still fail. But that failure will not define you if you're a successful person, because you learn from it, you get up and you grow from it. But if you make a habit of failure, then you're a failure. You have to make a habit of success. And if you want to be successful, there are things in life that are beyond the immediate. There are things I won't do. It doesn't matter who tells me to do it. It doesn't matter how it is presented to me. I won't do it if I don't agree with it to a certain point. But when you do things and that rubbish your name, your integrity, your standing, even within the future, whatever benefit you get today is transient. So that's the question they will have to answer.
Fantastic.
Listen, don't ever mention my wife, please. I have never mentioned your wife.
We apologize for that.
And I never said that I love the president more than my wife. I'm not a faggot, so that doesn't arise. I don't like that. Not the president because of position. I didn't bargain with the president for position. The president had asked me several times, say what you want, what position do you want? And I never told him I wanted position. So if he hasn't given me position, that does not mean I cannot support him. I have been in politics for years. I held offices. Other people who were not holding positions supported me. And this young man is asking me if I'm a serious politician. I have been a minority leader of the House of Assembly. I have been a commissioner. I have been secretary to the government of Rivers State. I have been a 2-time senator. You that you are a politician, what is your own record of achievement? I started here by saying to people that politicians all wanted to be governor. They are not governors. Same as governor, you say he's not a politician. You're asking if I'm a serious politician. I have held all these offices in politics. How serious do you want me to be again? Until I'm president or minister or governor, I'm not a serious politician. So are you saying that those are the only serious politicians? So when people come on air, they should try and be reasonable in their talking. So I didn't bargain with the president that he must give me position. And I cannot, at this stage of my life, base my support totally only on my own convenience.
All right.
That I have position or I don't have position. When I was in government, people were supporting the government who didn't have position. So that's not the issue. The issue is that if the president does what is right for the country, I can prosper. You can prosper, whether I have position or not. My supporters can prosper. They can grow with or without me having position. But even if I have position and the government is not doing what is right, people will continue to suffer.
Right.
Only me and a few people around me will enjoy. So what makes a successful country is not the positions that individuals hold. It is the nature of the society and whether there are opportunities for growth in the society. And that is what I want to see. That is why I supported President Tinubu, not just because of position. So if he's creating those opportunities for Nigerians, whether he gives me position or not, I will support him. But if he doesn't, I will not. Even if he gives me position, that's just the nature of how we live. When I was in position, I didn't support the president. We joined to oppose the president at that time because, we didn't think that what he was doing was best for the country and best for us, even as Niger Delta people. We didn't think so. We opposed it, even if we were in position. When I went to support President Tinubu, it was against the position of the government at that time. But I opposed them and supported the current president, based on my conviction of what I thought was best for the country. And that, by the grace of God, will always be one of the things I will take into consideration before throwing my support anywhere. At this stage of my life, I won't just support somebody because of position only, and then allow the rest of the country to fall and scatter, and then I'm supported. That's not the way it works. So yes, I support the president. I believe that we should give him an opportunity to make the country better for all of us. And I will continue to do so while I have that belief that Nigeria can be made better and he can make it better.
Fantastic. We'll just need to.
There is nothing I have done in my life that I cannot explain. Everything I have done in public life, I can explain. When you say come back to come and tell the Ogoni people, it wasn't, we
Perhaps
appealed,
he's talking about your political supporters.
not just in Ogoni.
Yes, not just in
Not just in Ogoni, it's not just an Ogoni
Rivers,
thing.
supporters in Rivers.
My supporters in Rivers State. First of all, Shegun, when we finished the election, the decision to go to court, we didn't call a meeting to agree to go to court. I took the decision. And the same way I took the decision was the same way I took the decision not to continue with the court case. And reality is what you deal with. The cost of the court case that he's talking about, nobody has ever sat down with me to say this is what it will take, this is what we are bringing, and all that. At the end of the day, if I decide to go to court, it will be at my own cost and expense. I have to mobilize the support. I have to mobilize the cost to be able to meet up with that across board. So it's not a decision that you take, it's not a group decision because the group will not do it for you. It's a decision that at the end of the day, you have to decide. And I decided. When I decided to run for the governorship, we didn't call a meeting of the whole of Ogoni that I would run for governorship. That's not how it comes about. So politics at the end of the day is first between you and your God. And then when you take the decision, you appeal to those who believe in you and in what your understanding of the situation is. They will follow your judgment. Those are your supporters.
If the distinguished
People who, I'm coming, sir.
Yeah.
People who will not follow your judgment will not follow your judgment no matter how you couch it.
Right.
Those who believe in you will follow what you have. That's why they follow you, because they trust what you decide is best given the total picture that you have.
This is well, I think what
This is not
what
not
be the fortune.
No,
of
excuse
people
me,
who
excuse
believe
me,
in
excuse me,
the
excuse me.
distinguished. Yes.
When I left to go and run on the SDP, I made it very clear that I was not severing my ties with the APC. Everybody in Rivers State knows that I said that publicly. I didn't hide it. You remember, even when I came here, I said so. Even on national television, they were asking me, are you saying you're going to be in SDP and still be campaigning for Tinubu? It was a national issue.
Right.
So my position has always been clear. I'm not doing anything sneaky. That's one. Two is that the decision as to the party you join is your own first and foremost. But if you work in a group, people understand what group interest is. So those who are with me, who left the APC because of me, there are people who left the APC because of me. There are people who stayed in the APC. It's not all of us who left the APC. The only people who left the APC were the candidates. They were the only ones that we registered in the SDP. Others, we never registered them in SDP. You can find out. So we knew what we were doing. We planned it as politicians, and we're very aware of the gravity and consequences of what we were doing.
Right.
So there is no law that says I must remain in any particular political party. That's not the way it works. And those who follow me always understood that we will go back to the APC at the appropriate time. Even when I was not in the country, all our leaders went and met with the national chairman. They met with him and discussed with him. They told him that a lot of them didn't leave the party. So it's politics. And politics changes by the day. You can't be confined to one position permanently. Nobody is. So if in the dynamics of the politics, I'm not quarreling with SDP. They're my people. The beauty of a politician is that you keep adding people. Some people will go, you add people. A lot of the people that I met in the SDP today, they followed us when we went to go and see Gandhi. They followed us. So that's how politics is. So you keep adding people. So there are people that will come, there are people that will go based on what is happening.
Yeah.
But the most important thing, which I would like to say,
Yeah.
is that people just need to have faith and work towards actualizing their faith, that their own future will be better. That's what this game is all about.
Well, again, you've said it's a game, so we'll leave it at the fact that it's a game. But again, I will just have about 5 minutes now. And I asked you, 7 months after Governor Simnai life.
To be very honest, it would be unfair to start rating the governor now.
But again, the president of this broadcast rated himself this morning.
Yes, the president is free. The governor is also free to make his own broadcast and rate himself. But what I would say, as an elder statesman in the state, I've already expressed confidence in the governor. that I believe that he has the capacity to get this job done. I've said that. Now, to rate him now is too early. Given the distractions that he has faced, given the challenges that he has faced, if you go and make a rating now, the other day I saw some people rating, say they are rating the best this, the best that. All those things are deceptive. They're not honest. And I don't say things in public and then come back tomorrow and walk back on what I have said. I never do that. So when I say something, it is because I have thought it through and I agree with it deeply. At this point, I will not rate the governorship of Similar Fubara in 7 months because I don't think it is fair to him or fair to Rivers people. I think what the governor needs is an atmosphere in which he can bring out his best for people to see. And I don't think that that atmosphere has been created as at this time. I think that we should, as a people, give him an opportunity to bring out his best. Let him display what he's capable of. I withdrew my case. So I'm no longer talking about the election or the lack of it, because if I had gone to court, I would have had the opportunity to go and show what I didn't agree with. But I opted not to do that. So he is the governor. What I think as Rivers people we should do is to give him an opportunity, let him be the best that he can be.
And would you be willing to work?
I'm a Rivers son. If Rivers State needs me in a capacity in which I can support, I will do so. But I can't come to the state now. There's no office in the state that I can occupy. I can't go and be a commissioner or a special advisor or anything, no. But if at any point in time, I always say that the governor is not my friend. Yes, he's not my friend, but he is the governor of my state. So there is no way the governor of my state will call me and say Rivers State needs me, or Rivers State needs your help in this or that and that, and I will turn him down. I will not. But I haven't seen any such call from him. And then, as far as I'm concerned, the state belongs to all of us. We're all stakeholders here.
We should be.
People have always complained about the House of Assembly. They've always complained about it, the water wasn't working. A lot of things had shown that there were some issues with it. I don't want to go into the controversy over the time and the circumstances in which the building was pulled down, because a lot of political meanings have been read into that under the circumstances. But what I would say is that I don't have the facts or the information based on which that decision was taken. But I know that the assembly could be improved. Is that a priority at this time? That's a different question. But if it was no longer serving the purpose for which it was meant, and it couldn't be seen to be serving that purpose, as the chief executive of the state, that's his prerogative. It is his duty, obligation to explain to the people why he took the decision.
On Edison, he has resignation. What do you make of it?
Well, Edison is an elected member of the House of Assembly. He's a human being, and like any other human being, he has a right to decide whether he wants to continue in the House of Assembly or not. I think the reason this is drawing so much controversy is because of the strategic importance of his relationship with the governor as the governor's own speaker, to now give that up. But I think that the answer to that may not be far from the 8-point agreement.
Right.
Because if in the 8-point agreement you have agreed that the House of Assembly without Edison will be the assembly, if they're able to put that together and the elders go along with it, it means that if the governor now goes to Edison after that agreement, he'll be going against the agreement. Right. So I think that may have informed Edison's decision to leave the assembly. But the actions he took with the law while he was claiming the speakership will still be subject to constitutional and legal review.
Okay, so we're speaking as a lawyer.
Yes, that's right.
That's correct. So again, distinguish, we're wrapping this up now, but you cannot leave this.
Message to Rivers people will be this. I know that we've had a very challenging year in 2023, but I do believe that we have the capacity, we have the resilience, and we have the knowledge to be able to pull ourselves up and move from where we are to a better place. And I don't think that we should allow anybody or any group of persons to kill our joy and make us believe that we cannot do better or we should not do better. I don't think so. So I think that we are Rivers people. I know who we are. I know what we are capable of. And we should come together and show the world what Rivers State can achieve. And we can achieve a lot. To my people, the Ogoni people, I just want to encourage them. It's been a very, very difficult year for Ogoni. There's so many things that has happened which I would not like to talk about in public. But all in all, everybody knows the Ogoni story. You know, we have in so many ways been an extraordinary people. We have created extraordinary vibes in this state. Even my coming out to contest for the governorship of this state and the kind of support that people gave me is something that only the Ogonis could have done, given the level of would I say, the dynamics of the politics of the state and the institutional challenges that we faced at the time. It was an extraordinary thing, and I thank all Rivers people who stood by me. I commend them, and I want to encourage them. We didn't make it. It doesn't mean we're dead. It doesn't mean we're living politics. It doesn't mean we don't know what we are doing. It doesn't mean that I'm a failure or that we are failures. No, we had a dream of a better Rivers State, and that dream will still be actualized. So people should just be cheerful. I know that times are not easy. I was telling somebody today that when we were young, the government didn't buy rice for anybody. And let me criticize Governor Similai Fubara here. He sent rice. That rice should go to more than PDP. You are the governor of Rivers State. Okay. Your rice should be for all of us, right. Rivers people. It shouldn't be for party people alone. Right. But what I'm just saying is that for Rivers people, our governor should be everybody's governor. Yes, that's just my advice to him. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out Symphony on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.